Welcome to a meeting of your Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners. Representing District 1, Harry Cohen. Representing District 2, Ken Hagan. Representing District 3, Gwen Myers. Representing District 4, Stacy White. Representing District 5, Mariella Smith. Representing District 6, Pat Kemp. Representing District 7, Kimberly Oberman. The County Administrator is Bonnie Wise. The County Attorney is Christine Beck. Time is set aside at the beginning of each meeting for citizens to speak on any issue, so we have time for everyone. Speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. Today's meeting is brought to you with closed captioning by Hillsborough Television.
Good morning. Welcome to the Board of County Commission meeting on October 19th, 2022. Normally, we would have begun at 9 a.m. However, due to accidents in multiple places within Hillsborough County, we have a couple of board members that are unable to join us on time. So we're going to go ahead and do a roll call for those that are able to attend, and then we will call the meeting to order for any motions or any quorum votes after the proclamations. And thank you for those of you that have been able to attend to celebrate today's accommodations and proclamations. But first, we're going to begin with a pledge and an invocation offered by Commissioner Myers.
Good morning. Let us stand, please, and let us pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For the invocation, please. Oh, gracious Heavenly Father, as we come to you this morning, as we are aware that there are accidents on the interstate, we ask that you will protect those and bless those as they travel here to County Center. Lord, I ask that you would bless our employees as we give service to all mankind. Thank you for those who are here to receive a proclamation this morning and the service that they give to our county. These blessings I ask in your name. Amen. You may be seated.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Myers. I appreciate that. First of all, let's do a quick roll call for those of us that are present, and we'll do it again once we're done with these programs in order to make sure that the board members are acknowledged their presence. But with that, Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Good morning. Overman?
Here.
Cohen?
Here.
Hagan?
Here.
Kemp? Myers?
Here.
Smith? White? Thank you. You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. And for the record, we did get a notice that Commissioner Kemp may not be able to attend this morning, so thank you very much. So with that, I'd like to recognize Commissioner Cohen for our first.
Madam Chair. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'd like to ask the following individuals to please join me at the podium. Lisa Maddox, Statewide Early Childhood Court Coordinator with the Florida Office of the State Courts Administrator. Good morning. Cinziana Balarca, Champions for Children Program Director. The Honorable Judge Catherine Essrig from Early Childhood Courts. Good morning. Greg Van Pelt, Early Childhood Council Clinical Director. Amy Lewis, Early Childhood Council Infant Family Specialist. Julia Schilling, Director of Problem Solving Courts. And Amanda Taylor from the Early Childhood Court Coordinator. Good morning. And I do want to mention our Chief Judge, Ronald Ficarota, is here. He's here for Pro Bono Week, but I know he's happy to be here for this proclamation as well. And this is really something very special and positive that we're going to do this morning, and it's a nice burst of good news that we're going to share with the community here at the Board of County Commissioners. We want all of our youngest residents to be emotionally healthy, equipped to learn, and nurtured so they can reach their full potential. The guests who have joined me today are all dedicated to this mission. A special observance called Celebrate Babies Week is a perfect time to celebrate not only the treasures of infants, but also the often unrecognized work of those who care for, love, educate, and provide services for babies and their families. Now I'd like to read the following proclamation, which has been signed by all 7 of the Board of County Commissioners. It reads, whereas infants and young children thrive within nurturing environments and stable relationships that meet their developmental needs, and whereas those who care for infants and young children are often vulnerable and require support and resources to help them nurture their young ones, and whereas the Florida Association for Infant Mental Health is comprised of partners from various counties and community agencies that work with infants and families and come together monthly to collaborate on how Florida can help infants and families through education, training, professional development, resources, and more. And whereas statewide, the Florida Association for Infant Mental Health actively provides trainings, advocacy, reflective supervision, and endorsements, and holds events to support professionals who serve infants, young children, their families, and all others who care for them. And whereas each October, the Florida Association for Infant Mental Health designates 1 week to celebrate infants, young children, their families, and early childhood professionals across the state of Florida and globally, and whereas Celebrate Babies Week is observed every 3rd week in October to bring awareness to infant mental health and encourage the community to honor and celebrate the lives of infants and those who support them, and whereas through community outreach, local and state social actions, policy awareness efforts, networking, and fundraising, these infants, young children, their families, and those who personally and professionally support them are honored and celebrated in Hillsborough County and other communities. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Hillsborough County, Florida, does hereby declare October 17th through 21st, 2022, as Celebrate Babies Week in Hillsborough County, and urges all residents and businesses to recognize and commend the Florida Association for Infant Mental Health for all it does to enable communities to enhance the lives of infants and their families, executed this 19th day of October 2022. And Ms. Maddox, I'd like to invite you to say a few words. Here you go.
Hi, thank you. All right. Thank you very much, Commissioner Cohen and all the BOCC for this proclamation. I'll accept this on behalf of our Hillsborough chapter of the Florida Association for Infant Mental Health, where we have a group of community providers and supporters that come together regularly to meet the needs of infants, toddlers, and their families in our community. So thank you all very much for this proclamation. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, well, thank you very much. We appreciate it, yes. And we hope you enjoy your special week.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, we're going to take a quick photograph.
Judge Esser?
I'm going to go up there with them.
One, two, three.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I believe Commissioner Overman is going to present the next 2 proclamations.
Hi, how are you? It's always nice coming down to this area. I have actually the next two proclamations to offer. The first being the Florida Manufacturing Day in October, and that's going to be celebrate our industry. With that, I'd like to ask the following people to join me at the podium. Sharon Sweatman, who is the Chief Technology Officer for Southern Manufacturing Technologies. Come on up. Beth Galick, the Executive Director of the Bay Area Manufacturers Association. Welcome. Jeff Cole with AmSkills. You're welcome to join. Nope, you don't want to come up? Oh, he's not here. He's not here. I'm sorry. Peter Sirak, thank you. The Quality Assurance Director of Seal Dynamics. And then Kenneth Jones, the Director of the MBE, SBE, Division of the Economic Development Department. With that, good morning, all of you. Thank you for joining today. Every year, the Board of County Commission recognizes October as Manufacturing Month, an event that's celebrated across the nation. Thousands of manufacturers across the nation host open houses and presentations that feature state-of-the-art manufacturing, technology, and career opportunities for job seekers. I am so excited to see our representatives of key industries that have helped our community innovate and thrive. It is my pleasure to present this proclamation to Ms. Sweatman as Hillsborough County celebrates Manufacturing Month and Florida Manufacturing Day, recognizing our state's amazing manufacturing industry. So I will provide this to you, and then I'll read the proclamation. There you go. The proclamation reads, whereas manufacturing is a cornerstone of the economy in the United States and Florida, and whereas recognizing October as Florida Manufacturing Month and October 7th, 2022 as Florida Manufacturing Day highlights the importance of manufacturing and draws attention to the many rewarding, high-skilled manufacturing jobs. And whereas these occasions show support for and celebrate Florida's manufacturers and school programs that prepare the future workforce, and whereas the following organizations strongly support manufacturing and manufacturing careers: the Association of Operating Management, the Bay Area Manufacturers Association, the Florida Suncoast Manufacturers Association, Florida Advanced Technology Education Center of Excellence, Florida Defense Contractors Association, Hillsborough Community College, Hillsborough County Public Schools Career and Technical Education, National Tooling and Machining Association, Society of Manufacturing Engineers, University of South Florida College of Engineering, and Career Source of Tampa Bay. And whereas Manufacturing Day virtual and in-person student tours are conducted to strengthen the technical and academic skills of our young adults enrolled in manufacturing, engineering, and design courses of study. And whereas manufacturing provides jobs for approximately 50,000 Hillsborough County residents, and manufacturing facilities in the county make products as diverse as components used in home building, aircraft, aerospace, defense, and medical industries. Now therefore proclaim that the Board of County Commission of Hillsborough County does hereby declare October 7th as Florida Manufacturing Day in Hillsborough County, and October 2022 as Florida Manufacturing Month, and urges all residents to recognize the value of manufacturers in their important role in the county, state, and national economy. Executed this 19th day of October 2022. And with that, I'd like to invite Ms. Sweatman to say a few words.
Thank you, Commissioner Overman, and thank you to all the county commissioners. On behalf of all the local manufacturing employees and companies around this area, we really appreciate your support in our community and recognizing how important manufacturing is to the local economy as well as the national economy.
Sure.
And on behalf of the Bay Area Manufacturers Association, thank you as well. The Bay Area Manufacturers Association advances manufacturing in Tampa Bay through workforce development, networking, education, advocacy, and technology. So we'll continue to support manufacturing in this area. And thank you all for recognizing our industry.
They said it all.
Okay. Well, you are an important industry, an engine for our overall economy, creating jobs for those that want to continue living in Hillsborough County, and those are good paying jobs so that people can actually afford to live here. So thank you very, very much, all of you, for all the work, and Ken, you just put together a great team. I was impressed with the number of industries, and I'm sure there's many, many more in Hillsborough County. We are very blessed with a very diverse economy, and so I want to thank you all for being here today. So let's take a photo. Thank you. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you very much for everything you guys did. Thank you. Fortunately, this is the best part of our meeting. And I am absolutely honored to have an opportunity. Commissioner Smith is, I believe, still en route. Thank you, Commissioner White. You finally were able to make it. We recognize it's been a challenge this morning. But with that, I have the distinct pleasure of celebrating and declaring the proclamation of October 23rd through October 29th as Pro Bono Week. And I will share with you how much I appreciate that once we go through that. But I would like to introduce and ask to join me at the podium the 13th Judicial Circuit Court Chief Judge, the Honorable Ron Figueroa, the 13th Judicial Circuit Court Pro Bono Week Coordinator, Anwar Thomas, please join me. The Bay Area Legal Deputy Director, Joan Bolas. She's en route too. Yes, it's been a little challenging day for everyone to get here, but thank you for letting us know. And then Bay Area Legal Services Pro Bono Manager, Jenna Hudson. Please join me. I have put a lot of pressure on you this year, so I appreciate you being here. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. It's great to see you, and I am very pleased to present this proclamation for the first time to these wonderful people who represent our judicial system so well in Hillsborough County. Pro Bono Week celebrates the commitment and countless hours of pro bono work performed by lawyers, paralegals, and law students in our county. They volunteer their skills and professional expertise to help protect the rights of those in need. It is an honor to be able to give this proclamation to Judge Figueroa and his team at the 13th Judicial Circuit Court and to Bay Area Legal Services in recognition of the dedicated professionals that work so hard and the work that they've done for our community. I'm going to take a little liberty here because I have asked Bay Area Legal to do an impossible task. This last year, we rolled out our eviction mitigation program. And since Hillsborough is experiencing the highest level of evictions this state and this county has ever experienced, we know that you're working very hard to try and help citizens not only participate, but protect themselves from something that doesn't come off their record. And I just want to thank you for all of that work. The proclamation reads, whereas access to justice is a fundamental and essential right in a democratic society, and whereas many people cannot afford the cost of legal representation and cannot proceed on their own without an attorney, and whereas in Hillsborough County, volunteer attorneys donate thousands of hours of legal services each year, and whereas the contributions of volunteer attorneys enable many people to receive legal assistance that they would not otherwise obtain, and whereas the American Bar Association and the Florida Pro Bono Coordinators Association support events that help provide the services to low-income individuals and recruit volunteer attorneys to provide free legal services to those in need. And whereas the 13th Judicial Circuit Pro Bono Committee encourages individuals in the legal community to get involved in the pro bono work. And whereas the 13th Judicial Circuit Pro Bono Committee supports Pro Bono Week to teach the public about the extensive work lawyers do to improve the lives of vulnerable members of our community. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissions of Hillsborough County hereby declares October 23rd through October 29th as Pro Bono Week in Hillsborough County, and encourages all residents to recognize the legal community's contribution to help those most in need. Awarded this 19th day of October 2022. And with that, I'd like to ask Judge Figueroa if you'd like to say a few words. Thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's always a pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you, board members. May it please the board. I want to thank all of you for having us here today and for taking the time to recognize Pro Bono Week. When lawyers are first admitted to the Florida Bar, they declare an oath of admission, and in that oath, they swear that they will never reject the cause of the defenseless or the oppressed. Our Circuit Pro Bono Committee reminds attorneys that their solemn oath means that they have the duty to ensure that legal services and justice and access to the courts are available to everyone in our community. Here in Hillsborough County, we take this responsibility seriously. Pro Bono Week provides us with the opportunity to expand pro bono services and to celebrate the accomplishments of the hundreds of attorneys who have worked tirelessly to ensure access to justice for our citizens. I'm proud to say that our local judges, all 68 of them, have been involved and supportive of our Circuit Pro Bono Committee's efforts since its creation over 20 years ago. I thank all of you again for taking the time to recognize the pro bono attorneys in our community and for your support of pro bono service. I'm proud to serve as the Chief Judge of the best judicial circuit in the state of Florida, and we owe a great deal of that success to our friends here at the Board of County Commissioners. Thank you all for your support. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Would you like to say something? No? You sure? Well, what I will say is the work that's done through the pro bono services to help citizens understand the legal system when they may or may not have the resources for it is critically important. And so thank you all for working so hard to make this happen. Now, I'm going to allow whichever one of you wants to fight over this, and we'll go back here and take a photo. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
right, thank you all. I'm going to acknowledge that Commissioner White is here. After we, actually, let's go ahead and do another roll call so that we can acknowledge those that are here and establish whether or not we have a quorum.
Overman?
Here.
Cohen? Hagan?
Here.
Kemp? Myers?
Here.
Smith? White?
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Excellent, thank you very much. Ms. Wise, would you approval of the changes?
Thank you. Rick, did you have something you wanted to add?
Oh, I just wanted to correct the record from earlier. We did not have a quorum at that time.
Earlier,
Yeah,
correct.
earlier, but now we do.
Now we do. That's kind of why I asked for another roll call, just to kind of confirm that we are good to go. And with that, I'm going to acknowledge our county administrator, Ms. Wise, for the approval of the changes.
Thank you. We have one item that has been deferred to November 2nd. That's item A32, which is to approve the grant cooperation agreement with Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority. We have several items for time certain. The first item is item D1 at 10 o'clock. This is to conduct a public hearing and consider enacting the M Tube Tech Economic Development Ad Valorem Tax Exemption Ordinance to further extend the commencement date of the exemption provided in such ordinance by 2 years from January 1st, 2022 to January 1st, 2024, and reduce the term of the exemption from 5 to 3 years. This is related to item B3. And then item B3 at 10 o'clock is to approve a second agreement to the Economic Development Ad Valorem Tax Exemption Agreement with M Tube Tech LLC to principally provide for the extension of the commencement date of the ad valorem tax exemption addressed in the agreement by 2 years from January 1st, 2022 to January 1st, 2024, and reduce the term of the exemption, excuse me, from 5 to 3 years. This is related to item D1. 11:45 is the recess for lunch. Those are the changes to the agenda.
Approve the changes.
We have a motion by Commissioner
Second.
Myers, second by Commissioner White. Seeing no other further comment, please take a roll call vote.
Overman?
Yes.
Cohen?
Yes.
Hagan? Hagan?
Yes.
Kemp? Myers?
Yes.
Smith? White?
Yes.
Motion carried 5-0.
Thank you very much. I'd like to recognize our county attorney, Christine Beck.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to take a quick opportunity to update the board on some events last night. We did receive the order in the Surtax matter, and at approximately 8:40 p.m., we did file the notice of appeal as directed by the board. So I know you've received the order, and you'll be receiving those other documents for your records shortly.
Excellent. Thank you very much. With that, we will open up for public comment. The board welcomes comments from citizens about any issue or concern. Your opinions are valued in terms of providing input to the board members. However, it is requested at the same time that you address the board that comments are not directed personally against a commissioner or staff member, but directed at the issues. This provides a mutual respect between the board members and the public, and the board has set aside a 45-minute period in the morning immediately following the changes to the agenda for public comment. At the discretion of the chair, the board may again hear public comments at the end of the meeting in the event that that time expires and not all people that have been interested in speaking have had an opportunity to speak. Anyone who wishes to speak virtually or in person during the meeting may do so by completing the online public comment form found at hcflgov.net/speakup. The forum is open for public sign-up 48 hours prior to the start of the meeting. An option is available to notify whether comments will be provided virtually or in person at the meeting. You may also sign up in person on the day of the meeting in the lobby at Frederick B. Carl County Center, located at 601 East Kennedy Boulevard in downtown Tampa. Assistance will be available on site between 8:30 and 9 a.m. For participants who wish to speak virtually who have completed the online form, an audio call-in number will be provided to you after the form is received by the county. All speakers will be required to provide their name, email address, and telephone number on the online form. This information is being requested to facilitate the public comment process. Sign-ups for both virtual and in-person public speaking opportunities for public hearings and public comments close at 9 a.m. on the day of the meeting. The chair will call on speakers by name in the order in which their requests to speak have been received. Prioritization is on a first-come, first-served basis, and boardroom seating capacity is 85 visitors for special recognition, public comment, and viewing. If capacity is met, overflow will be accommodated in the first floor multipurpose room. There doesn't appear to be that problem today. Face coverings are strongly encouraged in the boardroom, though not required. All virtual speakers will be muted upon joining the meeting and will be unmuted after being recognized by the chair by name. Up to 3 minutes are allowed for each speaker. I am looking through the documents that I have on the dais here, and I do not have a current speaker list. Over there. All right, thank you. Now that I do, I do not have anyone signed up in person here that I can see signed up to speak. However, it does appear as though we have one virtual speaker, and that is Ms. Sharon Calvert. Ms. Calvert, you're recognized.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Sharon Calvert and Chair of No Tax for Track. I've submitted this request via a public records request, but I'm also requesting it publicly today for copies of the following. All communication and documents related to the financial impact statement information that was included in agenda item B1 of the April 4, 2022 BOCC meeting, and or any financial impact statement information included for the April 20th, 2022 public hearing. Also, all communication and documents related to the August 16th, 2022 Financial Impact Statement Committee meeting, and all communication and or documents sent by Hillsborough County to the Hillsborough County Supervisor Elections Office telling the SOE the specific language to include on the ballot for the AFT sales surtax referendum. It's time to decouple local road funding that must be funded by the county and HART's transit funding. HART has an existing dedicated funding source, a half-mil property tax. Florida State Statute 163.567 gives HART the authority to raise its property tax millage rate sixfold up to a maximum of 3 mils. HART can do this by putting their own referendum on the ballot for voters to decide whether to increase HART's revenue or not. A majority of this commission board sits on the HART board. Does the CEO of HART, who came from Atlanta, know HART has this authority to raise its own revenue? And if not, why not? I would appreciate the county's prompt attention to my public records request. Thank you.
Thank you. We don't have anyone else signed up. Communications, do you have anyone else that signed up at the last second?
That was the last speaker.
Okay, thank you very, very much. So I'll close the public comments section and take it. We don't have anything on consent to be removed for separate vote, and the consent items for highlighting are accommodations, so we don't have to worry about that. So I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner White, a second by Commissioner Cohen. Please take a roll call vote.
Overman?
Yes.
Cohen?
Yes.
Hagan?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Motion carried 5-0.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Ms. Wise?
Thank you. We have some time before our 10 o'clock public hearing, so we can move to the regular agenda. The first item is item B1. This is to adopt a resolution with the Housing Finance Authority for multifamily housing revenue bonds, and this is for 116 multifamily units in the Riverview area. Mary Helen Ferris is able to present this item, and Cheryl Howell is also available in case you have any questions specifically about the development itself.
Thank you very much. Ms. Ferris, I would like to recognize you and say yay, 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 yay. We're doing it.
Yes, I am very happy to present these two projects for affordable housing. B1 is an item requesting board approval of the issuance by the Housing Finance Authority, the HFA, of multifamily housing bonds. B1 is a project called Fullham Terrace. It's located off of Gibsonton Drive in Riverview. 116 units, and the demographic is for the elderly. The set-aside levels, 23.3% under 80% AMI, 56.9% under 60% AMI, 15.5% under 30 AMI, and 4.3% under 22 AMI. The set-aside period is for 50 years, and I am happy to inform the board that the county is also providing funding for this project in a total amount of $6.2 million. I am happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you very much. Is Ms. Howell interested in offering a little more information if possible?
Good morning, Commissioner. Cheryl Howell, ACA of Equity and Community Impact. And, I'm so excited about both of these projects, but with Fullham Terrace, I'd like to say that our highest homeless rate is among seniors, and it's amongst families with children. And so I'm so excited that we're going to bring this project online. Our seniors are really being squeezed in this housing crisis, and this is 116 units, 100% set aside for our seniors. This project was funded with mostly HOPE funds, and there's a little bit of SHIP funds in there. I want to say about $1.5 million of SHIP funding and $3.7 million of HOPE funding in that project. $4.7 million of HOPE funding in that project. I apologize.
Thank you very, very much. I don't see any comments, but I would like to say I love the fact that this board, in partnership with the Housing Finance Authority, are working to help our residents cope with the high cost of rent and on home values in our area to make sure that we are able to support the residents that live here. So thank you very much with that, and I'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval to...
Second.
I'm sorry, what did you say? I'm sorry, Ms. Commissioner Myers, I couldn't hear you.
As a move for approval to help our senior citizens.
Outstanding motion. We have a motion by Commissioner Myers and a second by Commissioner Cohen. Hearing no further comments, please take a roll call vote.
Overman?
Yes.
Cohen?
Yes.
Hagan?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0.
Again, for the record, I'd like to recognize Commissioner Smith has joined our meeting and was fortunately able to vote on our very first agenda item other than the consent agenda. So thank you very much for fighting that traffic. Ms. Wise.
Thank you. And the next item is another multifamily housing development. This is 100 units, also with the Housing Finance Authority, and Mary Helen and Cheryl will take us through these items as well.
Thank you very much. Ms. Ferris.
Thank you. This is an item requesting board approval of the issuance by the HFA of multifamily housing bonds. The project is called Casa Belmar. It's located off Manhattan in South Tampa. It's 100 units. The demographic is families. The set-asides are 50% under 80% AMI, 25% under 50% AMI, and 25% under 30 AMI. And as with the last project, the county is also helping fund this project in the amount of $2.5 million. And the set-aside period is for 50 years. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. This is exciting. Another 100 units. This is amazing. Any further comments? Commissioner Cohen?
Just two things I think were worth highlighting that she said, because we've had so much discussion about this. I think all of the units are below 100 AMI, if I heard correctly, right?
Correct. All are, on both projects are under 80% AMI.
So that's tremendous. I mean, that means that this is really going to help people that need it very badly. And, you know, just the overall comment that we, through the leadership of this board and everyone here, are tackling this problem literally every single board meeting. I feel as though we have an item on the agenda where we're moving the ball and creating housing opportunities for people. It's very, very impressive on a sort of sustained, regular term basis that we're constantly doing this. Thank you, Madam Chair, for all your work on these issues. Did we move approval?
No? Yes?
I'll move approval. Thanks.
Commissioner Myers has got a second. Thank you. And you know, here's another example of bringing more units on on board or at available. The key now is creating units as fast as we possibly can. Just to bring the board up to speed, yesterday we had an opportunity to partner with the CDC of Tampa for Armature Place, that actually took all of the units that were there and brought them into an affordable housing unit. So we had previously, I believe, and don't quote me on the numbers, maybe Ms. Howell can offer us a quick guideline on that. We had, I think, about 30 units, 36 units. Now we're increasing it to 96 units under 80% AMI, our average median income. And just by partnering with an existing landlord, with an existing property management company, and with an existing nonprofit that can do the renovations, we're able to get more units online faster than we would if we were starting from scratch. So I appreciate Ms. Howell and her entire staff's work so hard to find innovative way to create more units to address the housing crisis that we have here in Hillsborough County. We have a motion by Commissioner Cohen, second by Commissioner Myers. And seeing no further comment, please take a roll call vote.
Overman?
Yes.
Cohen?
Yes.
Hagan?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Ms. Wise.
Thank you. The next four items are from our Human Resources Department. Ivy Martin, Human Resources Director, will take us through these items. The first one is to complete the performance appraisal process for me. And then we'll go into the County Attorney, Christine Beck, and the County Internal Auditor, Peggy Caskey. Item B4.
Good morning, Ms. Martin. Welcome.
Good morning.
Turn your mic on, ma'am, please. One more time. There you go.
All right. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here to present item B4 to facilitate the board's annual performance appraisal process for the County Administrator Bonnie Wise for the July 2021 through September 2022 rating period. The annual performance appraisal provides an opportunity for each board member to formally review, document, and recognize the performance of the county administrator for the previous year. During this process, it is customary for the board to share any feedback with the county administrator regarding her performance and discuss any performance increases for the upcoming term. I will start by requesting that James please display the presentation that provides the summary of the overall performance ratings for the county administrator's performance appraisal. Thank you. I'll start by reviewing the overall ratings for each section, and then we'll share the final rating for the section as a whole. The ratings are based on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being the lowest and 5 being the highest. The first section evaluates the county administrator on 6 performance dimensions, and if you could please go to the next slide. The dimensions are known and observed behaviors of the county administrator during this review period. The average rating for Performance Dimension 1, Strategic Management, is 5. For Performance Dimension 2, Leadership, is also a 5. For Performance Dimension 3, Judgment and Decision Making, is also a 5. Performance Dimension 4, Financial Resource Management, is 5. Performance dimension 5, responsiveness is 4.9. And performance dimension 6 in communication is 5. The overall average rating on the performance dimensions is 4.98. Next slide, please. The second section is the performance appraisal rates for the county administrator on 4 primary performance objectives. The average rating received for Objective 1, connection to the community, is 4.9. Objective 2, fiscal responsibility, is 5. Objective 3, responsive and responsible employees, is a 5. And Objective 4, delivery of core services, is a 4.9. The overall average rating on the performance objective section is 4.95. This concludes the review of the performance ratings for the county administrator's performance appraisal. At this time, it is customary for the board to share any additional feedback with Ms. Wise regarding her performance for this rating period.
Ms. Martin, thank you very much for your report. Are there any comments from the board?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not seeing any request to speak information update, so I'm not seeing.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I want to make sure the clerk knew that I'm not seeing any so far. Okay. Commissioner Myers, you're in.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And regarding our county administrator, Bonnie Wise, stellar services, flawless and priceless services to our constituents. A fearless leader. During Hurricane Ian, you and your staff were prepared to lead this county in case Ian came to Tampa. And we thank you for that leadership. It was also recognized on Friday night by Hillsborough County Sheriff. The collaboration in working with all of the partners, and you showed unity in representing our county, and we thank you for that. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Myers. Commissioner Cohen.
Thank you very much. I want to second everything that Commissioner Myers just said. I agree completely with her. And I want to hearken back to what you said about what the sheriff said on Friday night. There is a real spirit of cooperation in this community between the people who lead the various different governments, and that nobody sets the standard for that more than you. And it really is appreciated, and I think we saw during this last crisis how critical it is to have a steady hand at the helm. And we appreciate it, and I think that this has been just an outstanding year in many, many, many ways. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner White, you're recognized.
Bonnie, I don't know about those 3 blemishes on your evaluation. You got 3 4s. I mean, come on. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, what's up with you?
Perfect scores. I don't ever give a perfect score. Next year can always be better.
No, ditto to what everybody has said. You've done a great job, and I'm going to go back a little ways, but throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, and then recently Ian, and of course just your day-to-day leadership in this county is much appreciated. And I think I'd be remiss, and I think everyone would agree that through your leadership, that extends right down to the deputy and ACA levels, the directors, and then all the way down to our frontline employees who roll up their sleeves every day and work hard. And all of their work is reflective of your leadership. And while I have the floor, just to keep the meeting moving along, I'm just going to go ahead and speak to Christine and Peggy. We're going to be getting to yours in just a few minutes. It's just been a real pleasure working with all of you. Christine and Peggy, if you're out there, I appreciate your leadership and professionalism, and everything that we've said about Bonnie holds true for the 2 of you as well. And as someone that's on his way out due to term limits, just want to say that it's been a sincere pleasure working with all 3 of you, and this county is in good hands moving forward with our 3 contract employees.
Thank you. Commissioner Smith, you're recognized.
Well, I'm going to pile on and say that first of all, I very much appreciate your leadership. And as Commissioner White says, it's reflected throughout the ranks of our county administration, all the way down to the ground of the employees and the various departments that are under you. And we see that. But I want to tell you that other people see it too. That as I'm talking to people in the community, people who have been watching this board and interacting with the county on various wide range of issues and matters and from different parts of the community, they tell me over and over again that they see a vast improvement in our county government and a change for the better in the culture of interacting with the county, and they can sense and see that we're all kind of rowing in the same direction for the most part, and there's a real ability to move forward and through just a wide range of things. And that is a credit to you and your leadership and the way you have infused this county with a culture of accessibility and respect for our citizens as well as our employees and your board. And it's very much appreciated. I think it's really important, and I think we're making great strides on a lot of fronts because of this culture of cooperation and accessibility. And the word that comes to mind is competence, but it's beyond that. It's experience and ability and leadership. So today, I believe it's also customary for us to be making decisions about the contract moving forward. And, we have had a year of COVID where the administrator did not take any pay raises. In this level of administration, we all know that prices and wages are rising at a very rapid rate around the county. So, I just want to kick off that conversation by saying that I think it's appropriate at this time, given the situation of our county, to make sure that we start taking strides to make that compensation fair and bring it up to where it needs to be. So I'm expecting our commissioner, who has a lot of experience in the county, to be making some comments along those lines. So I'll listen for that. But just so you know, I would be supportive of making sure that we're doing this contract right.
And Commissioner Myers, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. After hearing from all three, from Ivy, Christine, and Peggy, I'd like to have the opportunity to come back and make the motion.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I'm going to take some liberty here because I do want to say something, but do you want to go ahead, Commissioner Cohen?
I think since Commissioner White sort of opened it up to the entire discussion, I just wanted to add that my comments were very much directed as well at the county attorney and the auditor. I think that in all of the areas, we just are so fortunate to have such professional and competent and grounded people in positions of authority that make decisions that are fact-based and reasonable and command the support of 7 people who don't agree on everything. And in fact, part of the reason I think our meetings go so smoothly is because all of you read the intentions of the board very well and craft the agendas and the items in such a way that they reflect the direction that we want to go. And that is, Commissioner Smith, I think you were speaking to that. And I think that that's one of the real strengths of our entire leadership team. So I just wanted to add that before you made your final comments. And I will also support, anything that is going to make sure that we retain the tremendous leadership that we have. It would be tragic to not have that continuity when we all know how important it is for the community.
Absolutely. With that, I'll offer some perspective. Ms. Wise, you and I have known each other for a very long time. We've worked together. I was a volunteer, we were both a volunteer with the Housing Finance Authority many years ago. Watching your excellence made it very, very easy when we were looking for a replacement as a county, in the county administration role. But I have had the pleasure of being vice chair 2 years in a row and then chair this year during two of the most exceptional emergency periods this county has ever experienced. Also, two of the most difficult periods economically that we're experiencing with, social services, the impact of the COVID, the impact of a pending hurricane, impact of rampant speculation in the real estate market, the changes associated with our growth plan, our challenges associated with our budget and transportation needs that had not yet been developed or reconciled for many, many years that we're now attempting to do. What I am so impressed with is not only what Commissioner Cohen mentioned in the terms that you somehow managed to navigate all of us, which is not easy, but you also have set the bar in terms of excellence by everyone within the county's responsibility, by acknowledging the value of customer service to the residents of Hillsborough County, by setting the bar of expectation. There are a lot of folks in Hillsborough County who have not slept much in the last 3 or 4 years, and I can attest, you have been one of those souls. We usually commiserate. How much sleep did you get last night? So if the public has any delusions that the county of Hillsborough County workers don't work hard, I will clear up that confusion right now. We have, in my opinion, some of the hardest working, most dedicated employees that any county can ever have. And that is largely due to the leadership of our county administrator and executive teams. We've all done, in my opinion, a stellar job with lots of barriers. And I just want to thank you so much to your commitment to excellence. And as Commissioner Cohen said, there's no way we're going to lose you. So with that, do we want to address all of the, or do them one at a time? What would be the board's pleasure?
Let's just keep talking.
You want to do that? Okay,
Yes.
I'm good with that too. So,
Madam Chair, if I may, I think I understood Commissioner Myers to say she'd like the floor after the final two presentations
right?
are
So,
done.
so with that, I'll acknowledge Ms. Martin to go through. I'm sorry. Oh no, I wasn't going to let you talk. Ms. Wise, would you like to be recognized?
Yes, please. Thank you. And commissioners, I so much appreciate the comments that you have shared with me. And it is truly an honor and a privilege to serve you and to serve this community. And I appreciate that you have recognized the 5,200 employees who wake up every day to serve Hillsborough County residents and who make it their mission to improve the lives for everybody. It it's my executive team as well, who just works so hard, to serve every day, and truly couldn't do it without them. So I thank you for this opportunity. I thank you for your feedback always. It is what helps us become even better each and every day, and I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And it's your leadership that sets that bar, and that leadership is definitely showing up. Ms. Martin.
Thank you. I'm going to proceed with item B5, that is facilitating the board's annual performance appraisal process for the county attorney, Christine Beck, for the October 2021 through September 2022 rating period. James, if you don't mind advancing the slide deck, please. Thank you. So this slide reflects the performance dimensions and ratings for Ms. Beck.
There's a previous commissioner's name on this one.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not accurate. James, can you take down that slide for now, please? Thank you.
Unless we got memos from somewhere else. I don't see that as being accurate. Thank you.
Thank you. There must have been a mix-up. So I will start by going over the performance dimensions for each rating. So the average rating for the performance dimension for 1 is strategic management, and that's a 5. For performance dimension 2, that's leadership, 4.9. Performance dimension 3, judgment and decision making, is 5. Performance dimension 4 for financial resource management is 5. Performance dimension 5 in responsiveness is 5. And lastly, performance dimension 6 in communication is also 5. The overall average rating on the performance dimensions is a 4.98. Thank you. And now for the second section of the performance appraisal, the ratings for the county attorney are on 4 primary performance objectives, and the average rating received for objective 1 is focus on customer service, and that rating is a 5. Objective 2, fiscal responsibility, is also a 5. Objective 3, responsive and responsible employees, is also a 5. And lastly, objective 4, focus on the core mission, is also a 5. The overall average rating earned on the performance objectives is 5. And this concludes the review of the performance ratings of the county attorney's performance appraisal.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much. Commissioner Myers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to repeat a few things, but kind of change it up some. Ms. Beck, our county attorney, stellar services, flawless and priceless services to all our departments, in particular the board. You and your team are prepared to lead this county through the lawsuit of the 1% sales tax and by hiring outside legal counsel. Thank you for all that you do. I've known you over the years, and you continue to provide the best services to our county, the best legal services to our county, and I thank you for that. We have not lost the case. We're not Perry Mason, but that was back in the day. But today is the Christine Beck show, and we certainly appreciate you for that.
Thank you, Commissioner Myers. Commissioner Smith, you're recognized.
Thank you. And we are so fortunate to have you heading up our stellar legal department. You have had, in the last few years, some really tough challenges as we have threaded the way through various new ordinances and referendums and legal challenges. I especially appreciate the work that your department has done, your attorneys and you, defending us in court to the challenges that we've faced as this board has tried to, worked hard to deal with changing course a bit in order to provide infrastructure as we grow, as our citizens have been demanding, and to begin looking at how to do growth management in a more responsible way to stem the the tide of some of that disconnect between infrastructure and development. And naturally, that has had some growing pains and some legal challenges. And your team has defended us so that we could continue moving forward. Also, I just want to call out that you and your team have really been creative in turning over every stone, sometimes we say, and thinking outside the box, calling in outside counsel, outside help if you need to figure out a new way of doing things, and really setting an example for other places, even setting some new case law in some cases. And I think that is very helpful so that we feel we can be creative and we can have leadership knowing that our legal department is backing that up and going to be with us, but also advising us ahead of time of what will be defensible and how we can, various avenues we can move forward. If we're trying to protect gopher tortoises, we are led to understand that's preempted by the state, but we can protect their habitat. It's those. That's just one example, but also, like our county administrator, you lead your department by example of hard work and constantly being accessible. We can always pick up the phone and get a call back right away with an answer to our question. If I'm going to be speaking to the press or speaking to a group and I want to make sure that I'm not, that I'm saying things correctly, you're right there with help, no matter if it's a weekend or whatever. And I just know that we're in very good hands and appreciate you and your whole department, which is also a reflection of your leadership in your hiring decisions and the organization there. We're in very good hands, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Cohen.
Thank you. I'm not going to repeat all of the nice things that have been said about you. They're all true. But what I want to mention is that as a lawyer myself, I recognize the complexity of the job that you have to do. Christine has to run what is essentially one of the largest law firms in the area that has to handle a very, very diverse kinds of cases. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I don't know that the public necessarily sees is how much litigation goes on around here and how much of it we win. Commissioner Smith was alluding to some of the litigation that comes out of the land use disputes that go on, and there is plenty, and our county attorney's office is constantly defending those cases and winning those cases. But it's so much more than that. It's just the panoply of all kinds of issues that come before us. And your office is filled with people who are specialists in all sorts of different areas of the law, and they are truly, in many cases, the authorities on that work in this community. And it's really, really a place of excellence. And I think that it's not always seen, because most of that work really does go on outside of the boardroom. But it's a really, really well-oiled machine, and something that I know all of us really appreciate. When we have questions, legal questions, they get answered very, very quickly, very, very competently, and very, very thoroughly. And that is what we can expect. And the other thing, and this also goes, I believe, true for the county administrator and the auditor, for all of you, the lack of any kind of anything other than an objective opinion based on the facts That's what we get. And I really think we all really appreciate that you shoot straight with us, tell us when our own ideas might not be the right way to go. That's a really important role, I think, in dealing with elected officials, and I know we all appreciate that.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Commissioner White.
Thank you. And just to piggyback on what Commissioner Smith and Commissioner Cohen said, you know, beyond litigation, you know, this is a busy board. And with us being the governing body and the policy-making body of this county, you know, when we move forward with all these initiatives, it's very much Christine's shop. It's where the rubber meets the road. You know, they have to get to work in crafting an ordinance or a resolution or a LDC or comp plan amendment or a board policy or what have you, and you churn through it. You always get it delivered in a timely fashion and get a quality product in front of the board. So I'm appreciative of that.
Thank you. And I will wrap this up, I assume, with saying thank you as well. You know, we address when we have to interface with those that don't like our work or an answer to a legal question. And I'm not a lawyer, don't want to be a lawyer, don't even pretend to be a lawyer. So I continually request your assistance in understanding what's not only our options, how we would proceed, but more importantly, what's possible. You and your team is, as Commissioner Cohen alluded to, have had to address a significant, diverse level of legal policy that we've asked you to assist us in adopting. A good example of that, you know, is the Tenant Bill of Rights. Hillsborough County took the lead on that particular issue after seeing it modeled in other parts of the state. And we've been able to adopt that and modify it accordingly in order to protect our most vulnerable. And it's that leadership, that research to create legislation or provide us with an opportunity to adopt legislation that addresses our residents with a keen eye towards equity, fairness, and legal precedence that is defensible, is critically important to the success of our residents. Because every time we get it wrong, we end up spending more money in legal issues. And the key here is you've done a great job of helping us get best prepared. And I have every confidence that that trend will continue, especially given that we've filed our appeal today. And I'm looking forward to moving that forward so that our residents recognize that they can still exercise their right to vote. And that's important. With that, I will recognize Ms. Martin for our last appraisal, because we are past our 10 o'clock hearing, and I know that we have one item after that that's related to it, so I want to find out what we should do moving forward. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Beck?
If I could just
Oh, you don't get to say anything either. No, no, I'm sorry. Please, I'll recognize Christine Beck, our county attorney, who we just provided all kinds of accolades for, to you respond, please.
Thank you. I just wanted to very briefly thank the board and echo Bonnie's comments that it is an honor and a pleasure to serve this board and to serve Bonnie and the departments and all the employees in this county, and to truly acknowledge the county attorney staff, every single one of them, because I'm blown away every day by truly how much they care, how much they want to help, how eager they are to address any need of the board or the administration or our other clients. And it's nonstop. The responses I get to emails over the weekend, and I try to tell them, please don't do that. You don't have to, but they want to, you know, because they realize we're dealing with a lot of important issues, and they want to be timely and responsive. And again, I just want to thank you all for your very kind comments, and again for the opportunity to serve this board. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and I mean, with all the contract work and everything else, it is pretty amazing what Hillsborough County legal department and the ship that you steer has been able to provide and benefit the residents of Hillsborough County. So thank you. Ms. Martin.
Thank you. I'm now presenting item B6 to facilitate the board's annual performance appraisal process for county internal auditor for the period of October 2021 through September 2022 rating period. The average rating for performance dimension 1 strategic management is a 5. The performance dimension 2 for leadership is a 4.9. The performance dimension 3 in judgment and decision making is a 5. Performance dimension 4, financial resource management, is a 5. The performance dimension 5 in responsiveness is a 5. And lastly, performance dimension 6, communication, is also a 5. The overall average rating on the performance dimensions is a 4.98. The second section of the performance appraisal rates the county internal auditor on 4 primary performance objectives. The average rating received for Objective 1, facilitate government accountability, is a 5. Objective 2 is fiscal responsibility, which also received a 5. Objective 3, audit committee, is a 5. And lastly, Objective 4, delivery of high-quality audit services, is also a 5. The overall average rating earned on the performance objective is a 5. This concludes the review of the performance ratings for the county internal auditor's performance appraisal process. Thank you.
All right. Excellent. Thank you very much. And for the record, Ms. Caskey is available online virtually to attend this meeting. And I will open it up and acknowledge Commissioner Smith.
Thank you. And we are also fortunate to have a county auditor in Ms. Caskey that is so hardworking and so passionate about giving us good service in auditing our county and looking for those ways we can improve efficiencies, improve security in the various departments, and it just very hardworking and passionate about that job. And I'll just also say, as Commissioner Cohen alluded or mentioned in speaking about the other leaders we're talking about today, that here in the auditor's office as well, you see that lack of a personal agenda, there's no like backroom manipulating somebody's agenda over another person's agenda. And I think that's part of what I appreciate most in all 3 of you that we're talking about today is you will give us your best advice from your perspective, but you will not, that you are responsive to your board's direction and trying everywhere to make this board as effective as we can in moving the county forward. And that's just really important to keep things free of politics and personalities, but as Commissioner Cohen said, to be objective and fact-based, and that's the way we really make the best decisions and get the best work done for our county. So thank you, Ms. Caskey. Very much appreciated.
Commissioner White, you're recognized.
Thank you. And just to continue on that point, Peggy has a stringent set of professional guidelines that she has to adhere to, and she often references those, and she takes them seriously, and certainly that's just an integral part of the objectivity and lack of an agenda that you refer to, and just appreciate, Peggy, the fact that you are professional and stick with those guidelines and adhere to them. And again, it's been a pleasure working with you and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Cohen.
And I just want to agree with what everyone said. You know, the strength of any organization certainly is measured by its willingness to be tough on itself and examine itself thoroughly by the most rigorous standards. And our auditor and the auditor in the clerk's office as well, they are all highly credentialed professionals who act totally independently in the way that they conduct themselves, and whatever they come back with, the facts are the facts, and we appreciate having an unbiased look. Not every audit turns into recommendations that everybody agrees upon, and just in the way that we don't always agree on the right ways to move forward. So I think it's very healthy to have a strong and independent auditor who charts a path of independence and integrity. So thank you, Ms. Caskey.
Thank you, Commissioner Cohen. Commissioner Myers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Peggy, thank you for all you do. Your leadership, as we've had several conversations about how you and your team go in and make sure our various departments are in compliance, and the suggestions that you give to the various departments. It just keeps the county on track. So if we had an outside auditor to come in, well, you've taken care to make us look good inside, and so that outside auditor would not be able to find anything on Hillsborough County because we have the best internal auditor on board now. And so for your service, you're to be commended by this board for what you do and how you continue to lead our county from an auditing standpoint. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I just want to offer to Peggy and to Ms. Wise and Ms. Beck, the beauty of having authentic, detail-oriented, transparent documents and transactions and financials can give our residents in Hillsborough County the confidence to know that we are serving our residents with clarity, transparency, and excellence. The fact that we have a credit rating as high as we do is a function of not only our budgetary expertise, but also the work that Ms. Caskey's auditors do to ensure that all of that information is credible, authentic, and accurate. The fact that our auditor works so closely with our clerk to ensure that transactions that occur in this county are done accurately, with authentic, and with honor is critically important. We have reduced any opportunity for malfeasance that would cause our residents to be unsure that we're doing the best we can do for our residents. And we are providing the level of service that I not only expect, but take great pride in seeing that we're doing for our residents in Hillsborough County. I'm very proud of Hillsborough County. And with that, I would like to ask Ms. Caskey if she would like to make some comments, since I was so remiss in not acknowledging that you two wanted to speak. And she's has joined us virtually. Ms. Caskey?
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you so much for all of the kind words.
Can we work on her volume a little bit, please?
And I'll try to talk a little bit louder as well. Thank you all so much for all of your excellent comments. I could not perform this job without having the professional staff behind me. I think it's the best team that I've ever had. And they come to work every day, think about Hillsborough County, the residents, and just make sure that we are mitigating or avoiding the risks to this county, and performing audits to provide some assurance to the, not just the board, but also to the citizens that this county is doing the best job that it can do. So thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Caskey. Ms. Martin?
Yes. So if there's no additional comments, we'll move forward with the last and final agenda item, which I will be presenting on final item B7, which is to request that the board approve the recommended revisions to the employment agreements for the county administrator, county attorney, and county internal auditor to provide consistency.
I'm sorry, Ms. Martin, can I interrupt you for just a second? Do we need a motion to receive the evaluations, correct, on each of them at this point?
That would be advisable, and I believe Commissioner Myers also had a motion she wanted to make.
Well, I was curious if we would be, yeah, I think we have to address your motion prior to addressing the agreement. So let's move to, I would entertain a motion to receive the annual performance appraisals. Can we do them all at the same time? Yep. For our county administrator, our county attorney, and our county auditor.
So moved.
Okay, so we have all the motion, everybody moved, everybody second? Okay, no, that's not true. I would say that we have a motion to receive the appraisal of the reports. Correct?
I want to make some, I'd like to make some comments and make the motion, but they keep taking me out the queue, and that's probably why you haven't seen me in the queue.
Okay, all right.
So don't take me out the queue, okay? I'm trying to get my motion.
Okay, we're just entertaining a motion to receive the appraisals at this
Yes.
point. Okay.
Okay, I'll
Motion by Commissioner Myers and a second by Commissioner Cohen, or White, or
I think it was Cohen and White.
Commissioner White made the motion.
To receive.
Second by Commissioner Smith and Myers and Cohen. Please do a roll call vote.
Overman?
Yes.
Cohen?
Yes.
Hagan?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0.
Excellent. Commissioner Myers, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. After hearing all of the excellent comments from our board of our 3 contracted employees, and I'd like to move that we give a 7% raise increase to the 3 contracted employees. Funds can be accommodated within the budget. And I've talked with budget yesterday, so funds can be accommodated. But we want them to stay here and work for our county until they decide to retire.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Myers, a second by Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Smith, you're recognized.
Yes, and thank you, Commissioner Myers, for making that motion. I think we'll need to do a study soon about how all of these offices are, how they fit with the surrounding area, as well as similar pay scales elsewhere. But I do want to point out, I mean, it's clear what we do know now, that these need to be caught up, particularly in light of the, the momentum that they lost during COVID and the economic environment around us. But I will also point out, it's my understanding that Pasco County just hired a brand spanking new administrator at a higher rate than our administrator. So that is at least one piece of information that you'll be finding if you were to do a study like that. Also, will just mention that we're going to be needing to do the same thing with the EPC director that we're doing here to bring them all into parity with the various aspects of their contracts. And we'll be doing that at the EPC meeting, or discussing that at the EPC meeting tomorrow.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Myers?
Madam Chair.
Okay. Commissioner Cohen?
Yeah, I just wanted to make 2 comments on this. I spoke of it a little earlier, but I would say it again now. You know, we are in an environment where competition for talent is very, very, very keen, because there is a great need for people with judgment and skill and experience in this economy, and we should keep that in mind as we're doing this. And then to just piggyback on what Commissioner Smith said, when we should do a study, because this is a big organization. And there are a lot of people in the Tampa Bay area that also run big organizations. But we need to make sure that we're in line with what everyone else is doing. And my sense from the other boards that I serve on and some of the other jurisdictions that we interact with is that we are not in line with where we need to be. And that's something that we need to look at. I'm going to support the motion on the floor, but I don't think it precludes us from coming back at a later date and looking at this again.
Thank you, Commissioner Cohen. And with that being said, you know, we have gone back for a majority of our employees. We've gone back and evaluated what our ranges look like, what our pay ranges look like, and made appropriate adjustments because we were experiencing the competition factor when it comes to having the ability as an organization, just as any business would look at how their competition is hiring individuals to be able to offer excellent service. And just because we're an agency that is dependent on taxation and other revenue sources doesn't preclude us from not being required to provide excellent service. And so we've addressed that, or am in the process of addressing that. And it takes some time to do that with a majority of our employees. But today, what we're doing is addressing that we have not responded with our most important leaders that are part of our organization. And that is a flip of what private enterprise frequently does. Frequently, you go to the executive team, give them all raises and say, hi, get everybody else doing the job. In this case, we've asked, and rewarded with it took some time to get there because of COVID and a variety of other challenges, but we've addressed our employees first. So doing this today gives us an opportunity of not only saying thank you, but making sure you don't go anywhere. So don't go anywhere. With that, we have a motion on the floor. I have a second. Please do a roll call vote.
Overman?
Yes.
Cohen?
Yes.
Hagan? Hagan? Myers?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Motion carried 5-0.
Commissioner Hagan was muted for a second. Commissioner Hagan, would you like to respond? Looks like it opened back up. Not hearing any, thank you. All right, motion carried. Excellent. Commissioner Myers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I appreciate Commissioner Smith and Commissioner Cohen comments on that we need to do a study, and that's what this motion is going to be about. So it is today. We're not going to come back next month or 2 months later. We're going to ask staff to come back and bring this report. So the motion is, I move that we direct Human Resources to hire a consultant to do a labor market study on our 4 contracted employees, Bonnie Wise, Christine Beck, Peggy Caskey, and Janet Lawton, for equitable pay. Second. That's the motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Myers, a second by Commissioner Smith. Not seeing any other indications of a comment, please take a roll call vote.
Overman?
Yes.
Cohen?
Yes.
Hagan? Myers?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Motion carried 5-0.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Commissioner Myers?
Staff can bring the report back at the November 16th meeting.
You want the actual evaluation done by then?
No, that's a study.
Just, I mean.
Our department director.
You can accommodate that?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I was like, wait, that's right around the corner.
Do we have a business meeting on November 16th? Okay.
Yeah, you're not getting off that easy. Excellent, thank you. So do you want a motion, or is that just advisement?
I think Ivy can just answer on the record if that's acceptable and
Yes, that'll be acceptable. We'll be able to bring that back by the November 16th meeting.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much. Okay, we have hit those 4 related items in a row. And, oh, I'm sorry, we have one more that is related to the compensation, and B7. So if you want to start that one again, I apologize for interrupting you earlier.
No, that's okay. And this is directly in alignment with the equity conversation that the board was just having. I'm presenting item B7, which is going to be requesting that the board approve the recommended revisions to the employment agreements for the county administrator, county attorney, and county internal auditor to provide consistency and equity related to the specific terms and conditions of employment. The proposed revisions are as follows. Paid time off. Effective October 24, 2022, the annual and sick leave already accrued will be combined into a new leave management system referenced as paid time off. Upon termination of the employment agreement, the contract employees shall be paid for all accrued and unused paid time off. And currently, the contract provides for 100% of annual and 50% of sick to be paid out. Due to the new leave management system, the leave will not be bifurcated into annual and sick leave, so it will only be combined as one. 2, the accrual rate. It is recommended that the rate of accrual be adjusted to include the accrual of an additional 2 days of leave per month consistent with employment agreements provided to current or former contract employees. In fact, currently they receive 20 days, and this provision is currently reflected in Janet Lorton's contract, and it was previously reflected in Chip Fletcher's contract as well. The third item is the vacation buyback program participation. It is recommended that the agreements be modified to allow all contract employees the option to buy back up to 100 hours of paid time off each year in compliance with county policy and consistent with the employment agreements provided to current or former employees. And I'd also like to clarify that the buyback program is currently in the county administrator's contract, but not in the county attorney or the county internal auditor's contract. Fourth is compensation and benefit enhancements. It is recommended that the agreements be modified to allow all contracted employees to receive the same compensation increases and benefits enhancements not related to performance at the same time and in the same manner as available to all other unclassified managerial employees of the BOCC, provided that the increase in compensation or benefit enhancements improves the compensation and benefits already set forth in the employment agreements. Compensation and benefit enhancements include, but are not limited to, the cost of living adjustments, disaster recovery compensation, and wellness incentives, to name a few. I also want to seek approval in the case of the county administrator that she is eligible for reimbursement for this standard and in place policies for all unclassified employees for disaster compensation, particularly as it relates to Hurricane Ian. The fifth is the auto allowance. It is recommended that the automobile allowance be offered to all contract employees which has either been or is being provided to former or current contract employees. The recommendation is to provide the county attorney and internal auditor a $300 per month automobile allowance. The county administrator is currently receiving a $500 automobile allowance, and that will remain intact as is, but that this new benefit would be provided primarily to the county attorney as well as the county internal auditor. And lastly, duties and status. It is recommended that the agreements be modified to allow all contract employees to attend events in their official capacity as may be expected, and to elect to have the county to pay for costs of attendance consistent with relevant state law and BOCC policy. This particular language is going to provide all of the contract employees the opportunity to request reimbursement, but there is language currently in the county administrator's contract that would allow her to attend these events, but now be able to request reimbursement for the attendance of those events. These modifications provide consistency and equity in the terms and conditions of employment agreements for current contract employees. Similar language is found in prior employment agreements of former contract employees and were considered in the development of these proposed modifications. The estimated fiscal impact can be absorbed within the existing budget. And this concludes my recommendation to the board on this item.
Thank you, Ms. Martin, for summarizing that. I'm going to ask a real quick question just to make sure I'm clear before we entertain a motion. So this approve the the revisions to the agreements includes all of the things that you mentioned in order to update the existing contract. Would that need to also include the recent motion approved regarding contract wages and compensation?
Yes, the compensation that was voted on by the board would also be included in the updated contract modifications.
Okay, so I mean, in other words, we reference what we just agreed to. Okay, thank you very much. Commissioner Myers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Regarding the allowance, well, first of all, let me thank you, Ms. Martin, for making sure that all three would have the same type of contract. So that's consistency for our leadership, and thank you for that. Regarding the car allowance, we have Peggy and Christine receiving $300. I'm going to ask that we retroactive that to October 1, since we are approving it now today for the $300 for that. But thank you.
Is that a motion?
I move that we give the car allowance of $300 to Christine Beck and Peggy Caskey effective October 1.
Okay. All right. So that's just a separate motion regarding the entire presentation, or just a separate motion? Why don't we do I would recommend, because that is embedded in currently, we do an effective date on behalf of the employment agreement. Is that correct? Is that what the actual revisions would also entail, is that those revisions would be effective and retroactive to October 1st as far as their contract and agreements are concerned?
Yes, based on the motion, it would be effective October 1. Otherwise, it would be effective as of today.
Okay.
Madam Chair, point of order. I suggest that we get a motion for approval on the floor and then allow Commissioner Myers the opportunity to make a motion to amend to make it retroactive to October 1st. Then everything, I think, will flow pretty smoothly.
Okay. And I'll go back to Commissioner Myers.
As presented.
Second.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Myers, a second by Commissioner Cohen. I have Commissioner Smith and Commissioner White in the queue. Is that to the motion? Okay,
Yeah.
Excellent. Commissioner Smith, you're recognized.
A quick question. So the county attorney and the county auditor car allowance is recommended at $300 a month, the county administrator at $500 a month, right?
That's correct. The county administrator is currently receiving $500 a month.
Yeah. Do you know offhand what the EPC director's car allowance is? Because I'd like to make sure she's brought up.
$300 a month.
She's $300. So tomorrow I'll be looking at bringing her up to the administrator level, because she has the whole county to do a lot of driving around in as well. I think I spent about $50 getting here today, so I'm going to make sure. All right, thanks.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Commissioner White, you're recognized.
Thank you. And since Commissioner Myers has a main motion on the floor, I'll go ahead and make a motion to amend to make Christine Beck and Peggy Caskey's auto allowance retroactive to October 1st. Was that what you wanted to accomplish?
Yes, but I thought we needed to do it separately, accept their agenda item and then come back.
It's okay. You've made the motion, and now there's an amendment. And if you vote on the amendment first, and then vote on the main motion.
Okay. So we have an amendment by Commissioner White.
May I just question?
Sure.
I think what the amendment was supposed to be was to make the entire thing retroactive to October 1st. Is that so perhaps we can clarify?
Yeah, I'll remove my motion and just restate a motion that we just make everything, all the provisions retroactive to October 1st.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner White, a second by, an amended motion by Commissioner White, a second by Commissioner Myers. Can I just confirm with legal and Ms. Martin that that would mean the employment agreements would all be effective and as of October 1st for each of the provisions that you described as to the employment agreements? Is that accurate?
So I'll defer the question regarding the date of the agreement, but as far as all of the provisions, such as the additional 2 days a month, that would be retroactive back to October 1, so they would receive that for this month as well.
Right, because there was a significant number of other revisions associated with that other than the car allowance. So I wanted to make sure that we're good there. Ms. Beck?
Yeah, just to clarify, at least my understanding, so the record is very clear, is the items in B7, which is it B7 that Ivy is talking about. If the motion is passed, they would all be retroactive to October 1. Our intention is to make sure that all these contracts get updated in one document so that everything is sort of clear. And the only thing that I see that is maybe just to confirm is that the pay raise would be effective today, is the way I understood it, but maybe I'm...
That's correct, but if it pleases the board, we can retro that back to October 1 as well.
Okay. Is there a need for an amendment of the amendment?
Absolutely.
Or a restatement of the amendment?
Absolutely.
Point of order, we should probably deal with that separately since that was done based upon separate motion of the board.
Okay. So we have a motion to the original amendment.
And Madam Chair, if I may, just to give Ms. Beck a level of insulation, I'd like to invite Rudy up to the podium and just ask him if he's comfortable with everything that's going on from a legal perspective.
Please
Are all the motions clear and in order legally?
Yeah, please turn your mic on and please introduce yourself. And I know the clerk would probably appreciate some clarity as well. So thank you very much. There you go. It's on.
Okay, great. Hey, good morning. Rudy Hadermota, Senior Assistant County Attorney, County Attorney's Office. To answer your question, Commissioner White, the motion is clear. We can go retroactive with all of the benefits that we talked about in the modifications to October 1, including the salary increases. And that can be incorporated in one employment contract for all three of the employees.
Okay. Does that help everybody be comfortable with the amendment that we're now presented? Okay. With that, do you want to comment at all? Okay. Please take a roll call vote.
Overman?
Yes.
Cullen?
Yes.
Hagan? Commissioner Hagan?
He's still present online, but we're not getting a response at the moment.
Myers?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried 5-0.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Commissioner White.
Thank you. So in reference to the pay, Ms. Beck, is Hank Ennis logged on to the meeting?
I don't believe so, but I'm looking.
Okay. He's the board's parliamentarian. My Robert's Rules of Order is already packed up in a box and out of here. But I believe we can amend something previously adopted. I believe that's a motion, if I'm not mistaken. So I'd like to, in reference to the motion that passed earlier regarding the pay increase, I'd like to make a motion that we amend that to make it effective October 1st.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner White, a second by Commissioner Myers. Is there any discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, please take a roll call vote.
Overman?
Yes.
Cullen?
Yes.
Hagan? Myers?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried 5-0.
And it was just due to the fact that everything passed, so we were good. There was no, the prevailing side was all of us, so we're all good. Okay, great, thank you very much. With that, I'm going to...
You still have the main motion.
We still have the main motion, sorry. I'm not seeing any other further we have a motion, and by Commissioner Myers.
Yes.
And a second by
Smith.
Commissioner Smith. Please take a roll call vote.
Sorry, I just want to thank Ms. Martin for all the work in bringing this forward and all your research to help us understand and how to make them all consistent. It's really important. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I'd like to also recognize Deborah Camarati and Rudy Hayter-Moda. They also assisted in all of the changes and modifications for the agenda item today.
Additional legal rock stars. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We have a motion by Commissioner Myers, second by Commissioner Smith. Please take a roll call vote.
Overman?
Yes.
Cohen?
Yes.
Hagan? Myers?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried 5-0.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Now I remember why I would watch Commissioner Miller write every single one of them down, going, okay. The jigsaw puzzle of getting everything approved sometimes gets a little difficult to put the pieces together. Thank you, Ms. Martin, very, very much. Ms. Wise.
Thank you all. And we can go back to item D1. This is a public hearing, and this is to amend the ordinance for the Economic Development Ad Valorem Tax Exemption Ordinance for Triple M, collectively called the Triple M Ordinance. This is a public hearing. Sam Hamilton from the County Attorney's Office will take us through that. And then following this, we will hear item B3, which is related.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Mr. Hamilton.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. As Ms. Weiss said, this is a public hearing. Back in 2017, the board granted a 5-year property tax exemption for a new business known as Triple M Tube Tech. In 2020, the company requested an extension due to various delays, largely due to the COVID epidemic. The board granted that in 2020. They have recently advised economic development staff of further delays associated with the redevelopment of the site and have requested an additional 2-year extension of the start of the exemption, which would require an amendatory ordinance again. Economic development staff is recommending the extension. One caveat would be that the 5-year exemption would be reduced to 3 years so that it would remain consistent with the county's procedural ordinance. Lastly, the public hearing was noticed in accordance with law. I can certainly answer any questions. I believe economic development staff is also available. And with that, it would be appropriate to take public comment as this is a public hearing.
Excellent. Thank you very much. This is a public hearing. I do not have anyone that's signed up for this particular public hearing to my knowledge. Is there anyone that can verify that we have no one that asked to speak to this item?
That is correct, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. With that, we'll close the public hearing and address B3, or do we address D1 first? D1 first. Okay,
D1
excellent.
first, the ordinance, correct.
Excellent. Thank you very much. With that, board?
Move for approval.
We have a motion by
Second.
Commissioner Myers and a second by Commissioner Cohen. Seeing no further discussion, please take a roll call vote.
Overman?
Yes.
Cohen?
Yes.
Hagan? Myers?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Motion carried 5-0.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Ms. Wise.
And thank you. And now we have item B3. This is to approve the Second Amendment to the agreement. And Yaksha Petrovic is here to present this item.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yaksha Petrovic, Economic Development Department. This agreement is brought forward to administer the implementation of the Economic Development Ad Valorem Exemption Ordinance that was just approved. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Pavlovich. Board, are there any questions?
Move approval.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner White, second by Commissioner Myers. Please take a roll call vote.
Overman,
Yes.
Cohen? Yes. Hagan? Myers?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Motion carried 5-0.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Ms. Wise, that takes us to B8. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. We're back on the regular agenda to item B8. This is to approve the capital project for the Wimauma water and sewer connection, use of American Rescue Plan dollars. Tom Fessler will take us through this item, but we also have George Cassidy and Ron Barton available because they are all related to this particular item.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Mr. Cassidy? I'm sorry, Mr. Fessler?
Yep, Tom Fessler, Chief Financial Administrator. Wanted to present to you this morning item B8. This item is asking you to approve the funding of a new capital project for the Wimauma Water, Sewer, and Connection Program using American Rescue Plan dollars in the amount of $2 million. This is an allowable use of ARP funds and is consistent with the plan that you adopted back on September 1st, 2021. It's also asking you to approve a resolution amending the adopted fiscal year 23 to 27 capital improvement program to add this project. And finally, it's asking you to approve a budget amendment in the amount of $2 million, realigning funds from the university area septic to sewer water and sewer connection program. The realignment of the funds will reduce the university area program from $5 million to $3 million. However, as staff became more familiar with the need in the area of the university area, we do not believe that the reduction from $5 to $3 million will result in any unmet need in that area, as that original $5 million was an estimate of the need. Since the beginning of the program in the university area, we have had one large success where there was a failure of a system at an apartment complex, Holly Court. We were able to step in, and within a number of weeks, we were able to connect them to water and sewer. That was a 20-unit apartment complex. We also are currently working with the university area CDC to identify other opportunities in that area. And outside of that, we were also considering some additional outreach efforts. In the Wimauma area, the $2 million will be used to make connections to the water and sewer system down there. We currently have a vacuum sewer system project that's underway that will assist in those connections. The connections in that area will be within the urban service area, but will also include the town hall concept down there. And with that, I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Fessler. I appreciate that. I'll move the item. We have moving item by Commissioner Smith, second by Commissioner Cohen. Seeing no questions or further comments, please indicate your vote.
Overman,
Yes.
Cohen?
Yes.
Hagan? Myers?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Motion carried 5-0.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Ms. Wise.
Thank you. Our next item is item B9. This is to fund two new capital projects for Progress Village Park and Kings Forest Park Splash Pad. This is pursuant to the budget discussion that you had, also for use of American Rescue Plan dollars. And Mr. Fessler will take us through this item as well.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Mr. Fessler.
Yes, Commissioners, as Ms. Wise indicated, we're asking you to approve the funding of two new capital projects, one for Progress Village Park improvements in the amount of $2.4 million, and then also for a splash pad at the Kings Forest Park in the amount of $900,000. These are allowable uses of the ARP funds and are consistent with the plan that you adopted back in September of 2021. We're also asking you to approve a resolution amending the adopted fiscal year 23 to 27 capital improvement program to add both of these projects. And finally, to approve a budget amendment appropriating $3.3 million in funds for the projects. During the fiscal year 23 budget process, the board did identify these two projects as a potential opportunity. and directed us to identify an appropriate funding source. During our final 2 budget public hearings, we did identify that we believe that ARP would be an appropriate source, so that's why we're bringing this item back to you today. If this item is approved, there will be approximately $6.7 million in remaining uncommitted ARP funds available.
Thank you, Mr. Fessler. Commissioner Myers, would you like to address this issue, please?
Yes, but first let me say thank you to the board for allowing this to come back, and Ms. Wise, and now we have funding to approve 2 critical projects in District 3. So I'll move for approval.
Motion by Commissioner Myers, second by Commissioner Smith, and I will just, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to ask Commissioner Myers, are these the items that are remaining from our budget discussion last year?
Yeah.
Yes. So these have made it into the hopper. That's
Yeah,
what
and I was going to say, she went after my coveted dollars for affordable housing, but the key benefit of doing this is that it's actually being used in a community that desperately needs community resources to improve the quality of life of the residents in that area, which is completely in line with the ARP dollar guidelines. And so I want to thank you, Commissioner Myers, for bringing this back, and the staff for looking for, finding the pennies out there and making it all happen. So thank you very much. We have a motion and a second before my voting thing decides to restart. So please take a roll call vote.
Overman?
Yes.
Cohen?
Yes.
Hagan? Myers?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Motion carried 5-0.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Ms. Wise.
Thank you. Our last item is a staff report, and this is item G1. This is to receive a report on certificates of occupancy issued in unincorporated Hillsborough County.
Excellent.
Adam Gormley will take us through this item.
Excellent. I'm going to recognize Commissioner White, who had asked to be addressed on this issue prior to the presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I asked the chair to be recognized before staff stepped forward. It was Commissioner Kemp that had requested this report, so given that she's not present at today's meeting, I move to continue it to the November 2nd board meeting.
Excellent. We have a motion by Commissioner White and a second by Commissioner Smith, and I would actually like to, as we address that issue, I did receive a memorandum that I'd like to read into the record that relates to this continuance. We did receive a memorandum from Commissioner Kemp's office regarding the absence of her attendance in today's meeting, that she's unable. Please be advised that I'm unable to attend the Wednesday, October 19th BOCC regular meeting due to illness. Please read the record and to read the reason for my absence into the record. So I'd like to provide that to the clerk. And not seeing any further comment or discussion, we'll take a roll call vote.
Overman?
Yes.
Cohen?
Yes.
Hagan? Myers?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Motion carried 5-0.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I would, we're at a point where we're at future discussion?
Future discussion items.
Future discussions?
Item
Okay.
H.
We have, the only thing I'd like to do is to get a report back at a future date on the effectiveness of our tenant bill of rights and the communications that we've had either with the industry, with the clerk's office, and as well as the judicial arm. There were significant changes that were made regarding the tenant bill of rights that impact the importance of having landlords and tenants understand the rules, as well as our court system. For example, we extended the meeting notice for renewing leases, as well as the qualifiers to that. We, in the original tenant Bill of Rights, we prohibited the discrimination of source of income, and yet it appears as though there's still a misunderstanding in the industry of what that means. It means you participate in the program. And we're finding that there may be some opportunities to improve understanding of that legislation and what it means so that we are able to protect the landlords and the tenants. As I don't want landlords to inadvertently break the law because they misunderstood exactly what that law requires of their tenants. So I'd like to get a report back in the near future regarding that item. I also want to advise the board that I've sent a letter to General Moody regarding the consideration of a temporary statewide eviction moratorium. And this is not an issue that is only affecting Hillsborough County. All across the state, many, many homes were damaged right at rent time. Right at a time when they were preparing for the hurricane, right at a time they were preparing to pay their rents, and right at a time that much damage occurred and disconnect. We still have communities around the state that don't have access to internet. And it is very difficult to do business. It's very difficult to respond to a notice if you don't have a mailbox. So there are a lot of the state that is impacted, and that because of the permanency of the impact of an eviction or the filing of an eviction and the cost associated with that, I've asked for the Attorney General to consider whether that would be appropriate across the state for those counties that were impacted and may still be under, that are under emergency order. So hopefully we will hear back from her. But I just wanted to make sure the board was aware that I sent that letter under my office's purview. So with that, do you have any idea when it would be appropriate to get that report back regarding the tenant bill of rights, or should we just take a look at the calendar and figure out where to put it?
Yeah, we'll try to get it in as soon as quickly, of course.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Are there any other new business items? Commissioner White.
Yeah, two things. So if I understood you correctly, Madam Chair, about your letter, it was sent on individual commissioner letterhead?
That is correct. Otherwise, I would have brought it to the board for today's approval, but I needed to see her yesterday, and so since I knew I was going to, I was able to hand her the letter. So
very good. And the second thing, it actually it's an issue that's timely because it came up today. Is Hank Ennis still the board's parliamentarian? Was I accurate in that statement?
Well, that's an interesting question. There's some documentation that the clerk is actually your parliamentarian, but Hank has been filling that role for many years and works with the clerk's office as needed. But he's happy to help with these issues. I don't have him sit in every meeting if we're not anticipating something just for time efficiency. But
I actually could have answered the question. You did it right. By the way. It only required a 2/3 vote, which you had unanimous.
Okay, very, very good. So, look, if the clerk's office is our parliamentarian, that's fine. If Mr. Ennis does, informally or otherwise play that role, I'd just like to ask that it at least be on standby, even if it's just to be watching for a text message on his phone. Hey, we need you to log on real quick. So.
he actually was. He was watching. He just wasn't logged in. So for purposes of delaying the meeting, but all is fine.
Okay, very good. But Rick, you're fully equipped to help us on Robert's Rules of Order and proper motions and.
I could if we need to.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you.
Yeah, that's oftentimes why I'm looking. I'm going, okay, in the event that I'm uncertain what the next step is. So I appreciate having that expertise and that good resource for being able to verify that we are handling things in accordance to proper protocols and Robert's rules. So thank you very, very much. And with that, Commissioner Smith?
Just to be clear, I think, what we do is we get a motion on the floor, and then we get an amendment, and we vote on the amendment. I think we could have, and then we pass that amendment. I think we could have voted on a second amendment before we got to the motion as well without retroactively voting. I mean, either way is fine, but instead of retroactively voting on amending the amendment, we could have just had another amendment for the main motion on the floor as well. No, he doesn't like that.
No, it makes the clerk crazy.
Because that was a separate motion, earlier on a different item, I don't think that would have been appropriate because it didn't apply to that. Commissioner White was correct.
That's what I was concerned about. I was like, wait, we got to go back to that one.
I should have known Commissioner White was correct on that.
He's very good at this. I've learned to not question when Commissioner White has a Robert's Rule question. So,
You know, I spent a lot of years sitting next to Commissioner Miller, so so I take Robert's Rules pretty seriously. By the way, Robert's Rules does say that a small board like this can be somewhat informal, as long as staff and clerk's office, can follow along with what we're doing. But our board policies do state that, unless board policy in some way overrides Robert's Rules, that Robert's Rules, kind of governs how we do business. And that one was a little bit of a strange one because we already had the previously passed motion on the floor. So I just wanted to make sure we were doing it right, that's all. And Rick, I'm glad that you stand prepared to advise the board, and that's a point well taken, and I think we're in good hands.
Well, we're here, so and then we'll adjourn. I just want to say that one of the great things about working with you, Commissioner White, is that there are things that I know you're going to bring to the table with great ethic to make sure that we get it right. I think there's times where we were uncertain how to word something or how to go through getting it approved, where that kind of circumstance is critically important, that we address it in a manner of which there is little question about how the board responded or acted. And that is very, very helpful. And having the expertise, having Hank and Mary Helen Ferris, as well as Rick, to assist us in getting it right has been wonderful. But it also means we get it right. It means that you hold all of us, you have held us all to account. And I too remember sitting next to Commissioner Miller going, how is he keeping track of all of that? Because sometimes it gets a little messy. Being attuned to, how we get it done in the process is important to give our residents, our businesses, our constituents, confidence that we're doing it well. And I want to thank you for that. That was an excellent service to our residents, so thank you. I'm not seeing anything else in the queue, so I'm going to call the meeting adjourned. Thank you so very much.